I am Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susie.
And we're paranormal specialists who live in the most haunted city on earth, Savannah, Georgia. Every day is Halloween in our line of work, so join us as we spin true tales of haunts, murders, and disturbing Savannah history. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on earth.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Most Haunted City on Earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susie.
And I'm JT Timmons.
And today we are here with a very twisted version of Ghostmail.
Boo.
Boo.
Bandage. Dead fish. Booger. Barf.
We didn't ask
What's
for
the
this.
other, liver and onion?
The thing is...
I am not happy.
The thing is our listeners love Ghostmail. Obviously.
I know. Why have we done this?
Obviously, y'all like it because you send in your Ghostmail so much.
I will tell you why. Because our Spotify is off the chain. Well, not Spotify, Apple Podcast. Like our podcast part is off the chain. Our YouTube can use some work. That is why we are doing something that's a little more visual. It's still very audible, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, they can still hear you go.
Yep. You guys on YouTube, you better like and subscribe
like
for
and
this.
subscribe.
Oh,
All right, real fast before we get started, let's go ahead and thank some of the new Parajunkies. We are officially over 100.
Woo!
So that means we have to do a ghost hunt of this spot, right?
Yep,
Right. That
overnight
is correct.
ghost
Overnight
hunt.
ghost hunt.
Overnight
we
ghost
should
hunt.
live stream it.
Yep.
We can live stream on TikTok and we can live stream, on YouTube.
Yep. And we are also announcing today, we've already announced this to the Parajunkies last week, but I'm currently writing a audio series that will be read on the podcast as a fictional episode. Parajunkies will be getting it first, like way before the public, and then eventually the public will get it when we end up releasing it, but it'll probably be weeks to months before that happens. But so if you want that, you will be getting that in May. If you want to become a Parajunkie and you're not already, if you're already a Parajunkie, then you'll be getting the pilot episode, and you'll basically be telling us how well it works, because it's going to be a full production, full audio only production of a fictional series of Maeve and Dr. Pendleton, played by yours truly, Madison and Chris.
Yes. If you didn't know, we're actors as
It's
well.
true.
They
It's
And
why we do podcasts now.
This is actually not my idea. This was Chris's idea from the very start. Like, we were talking and he goes, "You know what would be a really good idea? This." And then I was thinking, like, now that we have like an actual audience, I was like, "Oh man, let's make this come to life." So, I'm writing the pilot, but you never know if it works out and everyone really enjoys it. Chris could be writing the next episode. Like, it's going to be a total we're going to be, partnering up on it, so it's gonna be pretty cool. But let's go ahead and thank the new Parajunkies. All right, let's go ahead and start with Cheyenne Mingay, Devin, Christy Hart, Yvonne Holden, George Gay, Eric Withers, Stephanie, and Kate Wilkerson, who joined 2 hours ago.
Woohoo!
So thank y'all so much for becoming Parajunkies. Welcome to the Parajunkie family, and we're going to go ahead and jump into it.
Yes.
We have some wicked good stories sent in. Wicked good. Absolutely. We also got, we don't get a lot of bad reviews, like, ever. Like, we almost never get 1 star. You can count it on one hand how many 1-star reviews this podcast has. And we got a bad one because they said that I read too slow. It was actually a very mean review.
Oh, no.
It was super mean.
scathing.
And so I wanted to explain why I read slow sometimes or why I read faster sometimes. It's all about me trying to decipher the email. When there is grammar that is not great or something like that, I slow down and I tend to take it a little bit slower. But then there's some people that write in often that, I'll read faster because of better grammar. But yes, it was a scathing review of me, and it was actually titled JT.
Yeah.
1 star.
Just for JT.
I was like, whoa. Or maybe it was 2 star. I don't know. It was real bad.
No, it was
though.
1 star.
It was 1 star?
Yeah, so be nice to JT. He's sensitive.
It's fine. No, it's fine. I just needed to explain what was going on. But anyway, all right. Are y'all ready for the first story?
Yes.
Yes.
Here we go. And it is wild, y'all. It is wild, and I love it. Okay. It comes from Devin Lombardis. Okay? Let me get some of your coffee. Wet my whistle.
All right. That's my flavor escaper coffee, if you will.
Yeah. All right. It is titled Savannah Rental House Paranormal Experience. Hi. Let me start off by saying I love y'all's podcast. Every episode is super interesting, well thought out, and informative. Love it.
Oh,
Thanks so much, Devin.
that's very sweet.
My husband and I live in Atlanta and go to Savannah several times a month and have for many years. We always stay at the Bryce off of Washington Square, but after a few years, decided to try a vacation rental for one of our visits. We were bringing our children, who at the time were 5 and 3, and thought more space would be nice.
That's fair.
All right, y'all buckled in?
I'm
Yeah.
buckled in.
Because I was not buckled in. I got thrown out of the car. All right.
I also want to know, since you stayed at the Bryce a lot, have you heard the ghost horses? Yeah, it's a thing.
What's the ghost horses at the Bryce?
That's like their most famous ghost.
Yeah.
So the Bryce used to be horse stables back in the day, and there was a
There's
fire.
a cotton warehouse too.
Yeah. And there was a fire, spoiler
of course.
alert, that
What?
happens
Fire?
a lot.
Not a fire in
I
Savannah?
know. In Savannah, a fire. Yeah. And so the horses burned.
Yeah.
And so basically, a lot of times people hear horses galloping
Yeah.
down
They
the
hear the
hallways,
hooves.
which is really cute. I mean, ghost horses.
Clip clop, clip clop.
Clip clop, clip clop. And so I've never stayed at the Bryce, obviously, but and I haven't met anybody who's actually experienced the horses themselves. So I'm just wondering if you have experienced the horses, write us back so I can hear about it.
Cool.
Okay, carry on.
All right. So she listed the address. I'm not going to say the address. I'm just going to say it's on Price Street, just because, I don't want people not coming here because of how aggressive this story is. Not coming here,
Before
but
we go
renting
forward,
that spot. Yeah.
We've had other stories about a rental place on
Yes,
Price
we have.
Street.
It was not, but that was over by where we lived on Price Street.
on
Yes.
East.
Yeah. South of that. South of
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Got it.
It's about a half mile away.
Okay.
But this one's on Washington Square. It's a rental spot on Price Street, right next to the Bryce. If you want the address because you want to stay there, hit me up. I'll give it to you. All right. The rental was on Price Street, which is right next to the Bryce. Let me say that just because we had an experience at this home doesn't mean it's going to be like this for everyone that rents the home. Mm-hmm. I would never want to share an experience that had that we had, and in return have a negative impact on the owner/rental management company. We arrived at the house, and my husband went in to use the restroom while I got our kids out of the car. My husband comes out a couple minutes later to help, and when we get back, the door it was locked. I thought maybe it was an automatic lock or just accidentally locked back, but it was a regular lock and a deadbolt. Immediately after unlocking the door, I got a sense that something didn't want us there. From the back door, you can see up to the upstairs hallway, and I saw a man walk past quickly. I saw it so clearly that I thought someone was already at the house and shouted out to see if they would respond. My husband immediately goes upstairs to see and comes back letting me know he didn't see anything. My instincts are usually pretty spot on, and I go with them 99.9% of the time. But after driving down from Atlanta with 2 kids going bananas, I just wanted to get settled and tried to shake off what I was feeling. We then proceed to all go upstairs to bring our luggage up. The upstairs is a square with a room on either side and 2 bathrooms in the back that connect to the bedrooms and also the hallway. I walk through the primary bathroom in the bedroom with our kids, and my husband is behind us. Immediately after my husband walked through the doorway connecting the two rooms, he was shoved so forcefully and abruptly he fell to the ground and didn't even put his arms out to catch his fall. He fell flat on his face with his arms to his side as if he had no control. A few seconds later, he gets up and is in the fetal position, shaking. I feel like I need to make it known that my husband is a veteran and did multiple tours in Iraq and has experienced things that no one ever should have to. He's not easily scared or fearful of anything, so to see him shaken up was wild. At this point, I'm trying to get my kids out of this situation when our 5-year-old proceeds to say, "Mommy is going to die.
Ooh.
The stairs, Mommy is going to fall." When I say we are in the house for less than, I'm not exaggerating. This entire experience happened so quickly. We got the kids out and my husband grabbed our stuff and we left. We went over to the Bryce and got a room. I called the rental company and told them we wouldn't be able to come. I didn't know what else to say. I couldn't even begin to explain what just happened at the house. We didn't ask for a refund or receive one or offer any other explanation, just simply that we would not be coming. My husband and I have had paranormal experience before, and generally they don't bother us. Our home in Atlanta has its own energies and spirits that we hear and see pretty much weekly. I've seen things, felt things, heard things, but nothing like this. I still won't go past the house. I want nothing to do with it. I have friends and family say that they want to rent it and see what they experience. I let them know they are on their own because I would never want to go back into that situation again. Thank you for letting me share our experience and for having such an awesome podcast, Devin.
Wow. Mommy's with the maggots now.
Nobody wants that.
No.
Nobody wants that.
If you've seen the new Evil Dead, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, so interestingly, I actually have a story about this house that was told to me about a month ago by some guests. I know. So
Okay.
JT obviously told me what the address was, and when he did, I didn't tell him that I knew the story because I was saving it. But basically, I had some guests about a month ago who were a group of teenagers, and they all loved ghost hunting. And their parents indulge it, so they take them to haunted places around America and all that. It's like a family activity.
Okay.
And they recently had stayed at this location because I asked them for the address after they told me what happened, and they looked it up.
What?
And it was two boys. They were probably about 16, 17 years old, and they were staying in one of the upper rooms. And they both had this experience where they were sleeping and they saw a man in the doorway who walked in, and the room filled with this kind of smoke of sorts. And when the man got up to them, it started choking each of them, one hand on each throat. And then basically neither...
This was a guest?
Yeah.
Like at the Savannah Underground?
Yes. On my tour. Because if you didn't know, I give tours. And a lot of times after the tours, people indulge me with all of their paranormal experiences. But it happened at this exact address. And so I wonder if it's the same entity. More than likely it is. But it was
We might need to do an investigation there.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
I'm about to rent it up.
Rent it up.
But basically, though, yeah, it was like a big, tall man who had these massive hands, apparently, and literally just one hand on each of their throats because they were sleeping next to each other.
So this is like a malevolent entity.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
And
wild,
this is-
y'all.
Within a rock's throw of Hampton Lily Bridge, isn't it?
Right.
Yes, it
And
is.
I thought the same thing.
Because in the original Hampton Lily Bridge stories, because the Hampton Lily Bridge house was moved.
It was on
It was-
Ryan Street.
Yeah, it was moved, on logs over to where it is now. But the original story was about a giant man. And some people wanted to conflate that into Renee Ash,
Right.
simply because the description was a very large man.
Right.
I think that was Jim Williams actually stated that it was
It was a 7-foot tall man.
it was just this big, gigantic
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting because that whole area has been because the Lilybridge house has not had
why.
any real complaints. Certainly the owners are like, this place is not anything. But if you drive it out of the house, maybe it just goes next door. Maybe it just goes nearby.
Interesting.
I am intrigued because I have heard, and one of the problems of like Savannah ghost stories is when you hear a story in Savannah about a place, sometimes it is misplaced, meaning someone heard a story and then they ascribe it to a location. That's why you have so many houses with little girls in it and so many houses that have it's the same types of stories happening over and over. And it's like, well, actually, it's very possible that the woman that everyone thinks is haunting the 1790 is actually a River Street ghost. They just heard the story and they transplanted it. You know, you hear that often, that there are these things. And the story that is in my mind is about a man pushing his wife down the stairs. I remember very distinctly hearing that story of a man who killed his wife, pushing her down the stairs. And that was the first time I heard it. It was the steps going down to River Street, because those are the stone stairs of death, and everybody talks and remarks about it. And there have been a lot of very serious injuries on those stairs. And so it just made sense. And that was a story that went around like in the 90s. It was a big thing. But then somebody was like, you know, actually that happened in a house. But no one really knew which house it was.
Right.
So then again, there it is. The concept of being pushed downstairs or finding yourself, you know, in a situation where a child would say, you're going to die on the stairs. Because a child's understanding of stairs should not include you die from a fall.
No.
You know, because when I was a kid, I used to roll down the stairs. I used to, you know, it was just a thing to fall downstairs. It was funny. And you see it in movies, you see it in cartoons and things. And, you know, maybe they stopped doing that. Maybe they stopped showing kids. Because like when I was a kid, you know, rolling down the stairs was hilarious and everybody did it and it was fun. But to think that you would die falling down the stairs is a very specific thing.
It's so specific. And like this thing is that strong that it can like immediately possess a child like that.
It wouldn't necessarily be possession, I don't think.
Be,
or just give the kid
the child may be able to attune to it as well, you know, because there's a lot of different things going on at that moment. Because I always use the radio thing. If a child receives a signal, it's not possession, it's
transmuted.
Exactly. It's being transmitted into the child and through the child, not necessarily encompassing the child. But still, that's a nasty story. Yeah, definitely.
But I just think,
and then to couple it with your story,
it's fascinating.
It's time to pay them a visit.
I think so.
It is.
That's wild. Okay. All right. You ready for the question? Mm-hmm. How long was the Lombardi's family in the house before leaving? A, 3 minutes. B, 10 minutes. C, 5 minutes. D, 8 minutes.
I'm going to go 10 minutes.
I thought 10 minutes when it was being read.
I did too. Yeah. I did too. Because, well, I mean, just logically, that's like a common thing to say. Like I would
round up. If it was 8 minutes, I would say 10. I mean, I would, because
she also had to get
the sentence was like no more than, you know, like
10.
When I tell you that it was no more than, it doesn't seem like you would say a really specific number as much as the generalized number. So 5 or 10 would be like what I'm choosing between. But given the events,
but also like to get kids out of the car and get the luggage upstairs and the husband to be yeeted across the room, like, you know, that's gonna take more than 3 minutes or so.
All right. So what's your final?
Before history is written, it's played. Before it's frozen in time, it's fought one shift at a time. Before it's etched in silver, it's carved in ice. What happens next will last forever. The Stanley Cup Final on ABC and ESPN Plus begins Saturday.
10 minutes.
I'm going with 10.
Okay. At this point, I'm trying to get my kids out of this situation when our 5-year-old proceeds to say, Mommy is going to die. The stairs, Mommy is going to fall. When I say we were all in the house for less than 5 minutes, I'm not exaggerating.
No.
There it is.
All right. So let's go ahead and take a spin on our little spin wheel.
Great.
And then you get to eat a jelly bean. And it
I
could
don't
be a
want this
great
jelly
flavor.
bean.
It could be a great flavor. Oh. All right. Strawberry banana smoothie or dead fish.
What does
And
it
it
look
looks like that. It's that
can't-
orange one.
I can't.
I am colorblind, so you'll
Oh
have to,
my God.
you'll have to dig it out.
Didn't even think about that. All
It's
right.
orange with red spots.
Yeah. Orange with red spots. Here's one.
I'm scared of it.
Orange or dead spots. Nom, 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 nom.
I'm scared of the red spots.
All right. What are we looking at? No, not you. You have to spin your own.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Is it?
Okay,
Which one
wait,
is it? Is
hold-
it dead fish or strawberry smoothie?
It's got to be strawberry smoothie because
Yay!
it's actually quite pleasant.
No, what did you?
No,
spin?
no, I
Oh.
barely
Okay.
touched it, so I spun it again.
Okay.
Peach or barf?
Peach or barf? All right, baby.
This one's also like a orange one with red spots.
All right. So
I'm
Chris
confused.
lucked out. So that's good for him.
They really did not make this distinct.
It's okay. Just go for it, babe.
You can do it.
All right. Yum yum in the tum tum. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no.
I don't know if that's barf or peach. Whatever it is, it's really nasty.
Then it's
So it's
barf.
barf, yeah.
Peach is gonna
But
taste
it's
great.
fruity. But it's fruity.
Fruity barf.
Fruity barf. Yeah. Well, it's
Well,
like you barfed up
It's
peaches.
still a jelly bean.
All right.
No, that's dead fish.
That's
Oh,
dead
you got the
fish?
dead fish one.
That's dead fish.
Well,
Oh,
they look
great.
exactly the same.
How bad was it? Did it taste like dead fish?
No, it tastes like low tide with fruit.
Ah,
Like you're eating a peach cup. I think they mix some because
LOL.
it tastes like if you're eating a peach cup, like
Okay.
those Dole peach cups or
Yeah.
whatever, while it's low tide.
while you're just smelling the sea.
All right. So this next story, let's go ahead and move on. That was the usual Chris lucking out in Madison eating a dead fish. All right.
It's new.
Yeah, what's new?
That's new.
Melissa Merhar
cute.
Parker sent us ghost mail, and she titled it "Aggressive Hat Man Who Jumped on Me and More."
Oh my gosh, these hat men.
Hatman.
Man.
I have a Hatman costume in my car right now as we speak.
You should wear it one day.
All right. She said, "Howdy. I've been meaning to write in," and there's an emoji with a cowboy hat on.
Howdy.
How?
I've been meaning to write in to your fabulous podcast for months now. You guys are literally amazing, and I love the content. Thanks so much, Melissa. What finally got me to write in about my many ghost stories / crazy psychic happenings was the latest episode about Hat Man getting more aggressive. I have a story from the late 90s set in a basement apartment in Philadelphia in an extremely old neighborhood and building. While my building was from the 1920s, there was a paper mill from the 1600s right up the street. Anyway, back to my Hat Man story. This apartment always creeped my boyfriend and myself out, but it came to head one Mother's Day afternoon. I had just finished my day shift at a restaurant to find my boyfriend and 4 of his friends sitting at the kitchen table drinking some beers. I'd been home for maybe 5 minutes when out of my peripheral vision, I saw something rushing towards me, so I ducked, covered, and screamed. Not only did I see the Hat Man charge me and turn into a blank, so did my college boyfriend and his friends. Needless to say, we jumped up and got the hell out of there. We were so scared that we didn't go home for days and made his little sister, who was in high school, go check to make sure it was safe. Haha. What's crazy is we all saw and have the same story. This is literally hundreds. This is first of literally hundreds of crazy stories of now. Hold on. This is first of literally hundreds of crazy stories of know when people are pregnant before they do. Seeing a Union soldier in my house in ATL. Telling people to get off planes due to mechanical issues, then they were deplaned, having dreams about where lost keys are from 2 hours away, and the keys being there, but that's for another day. Thanks for all you do, Melissa.
Wow.
Wow. What is with these hat men?
The hat men are getting aggressive, I tell you.
They are.
Apparently.
Because it's funny because as the urban legend stands, he is non
confrontational.
Yeah, he's just present. But we've gotten more and more stories about actual like experiences. Seeing the Hat Man's face was a big one that we heard that I had never heard before.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if we're not just moving into a new territory of this particular legend, of this thing, because a lot of times your consciousness forms what a spirit can be, and the more that people think about Hat Man or know about Hat Man, more an entity could choose that form, could use that form because of people's familiarity with it. There was a rash of Freddy Krueger sightings and sensations in the 80s, people having dreams about Freddy Krueger because that was the notion of the character. And it was like, once you've introduced a character into, like Slender Man is a great example. Lots of people actually claim to see and interact or have interactions with Slender Man, and we know that is a 100% created entity. But the reason why it's so believable is it has features that are easily in our minds. Oh yeah, that rings a bell. That has a certain kind of thing. So yeah, I'm wondering if there aren't other spirits. And now you're talking about a transformation that Hat Man goes under. If there aren't other spirits who are using Hat Man to breach our sense of reality.
Yeah, I feel like there might be some subcategories of Hat Man that we aren't privy to until we learn these stories that people have encountered. Yeah. Because I feel like every episode we're learning more and more about Hat Man and his true intentions.
It's truly working for my my film that I'm
know. Yeah, getting ideas.
I'm just getting great ideas.
That's awesome. All right. So here's the next question. What did the Hat Man turn into? Was it A, a mist, B, a shadow, C, a beam of light that quickly disappeared, or D, nothingness?
Part of me wants it to be a beam of light because I feel like that would be fun. Just like, rah, pew, into a beam of light.
What was that again?
Rah, pew.
Okay. That is correct.
I figured.
That is the transformation.
You should Foley sound.
Yeah, really?
Right? But, none of those necessarily make sense to my logic with Hat Man. So,
well, it's weird because I think the word was transforms into.
Yes.
And I feel strongly, and if I'm wrong, then it's really more about sentence structure. I don't think you transform into nothingness.
Right.
You dissolve into nothingness, or you dissipate into nothingness.
I can confirm that it was transformed for you. Give me a second.
I'm pretty sure that was what it said, because I immediately thought a dog.
I thought bat.
I was thinking a wolf or an animal or things like that. Entities transforming into mist, I think, is a pretty common.
Sure.
It was transform.
Oh, what was it?
Not only did I see the Hat Man charge me and turn into.
Yeah, turn into nothingness also doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
To me. Like if I was structuring the sentence, turning into nothingness is not the same as disappearing. That seems like what you would say is charged and disappeared. However, that's not to say that it's not nothingness. It's just the phrasing makes me feel like turn into a mist is my gut reaction to it, only because I've witnessed apparitions turning into mist. I've heard that story many times of figures turning into mist. Mist being a common. So this is interesting, and I always talk about this. To me, mist is when a entity loses its form. It cannot hold the apparition together because it's using its energy. And so if you're talking about a spirit that charges, it's using its energy, and it's possible that it couldn't maintain its shape while it was doing an action. But that's, again, my own theories on the difference between like full apparitions, shadow people, and mist, because I believe that is the order. A full apparition is something that looks like the person was when they're alive. A shadow doesn't have features, and then mist doesn't even have form. So that's my gut, is that he turned into mist.
I'm just going to go with beam of light for funsies.
Funsies.
But
I mean, beam of light would be awesome.
it would be cool.
It would be totally cool if he turned into a beam of light, because that also contradicts what we know about Hat Man.
Right.
And it would be awesome if we had like this totally like new aspect of he turned into a beam of light.
Right.
You know, because that's not all that scary. Mm-hmm. But if you experienced it, you'd probably run.
Well, yeah, you'd be like, what in the world? What in tarnation? So, well, didn't she start it out with howdy?
She did. So that's why she.
Fair enough.
What in tarnation?
You're such a goober. All right. You ready?
Yes.
So, Missing Beam of Light. Got it. Not only did I see that the Hat Man charge me and turn into a mist, so did my college boyfriend and his friends. Spin away.
You can do it.
All right. We landed on.
Are you freaking kidding me? The peach and barf again?
It's peach
Here you
barf.
can. That means you don't have to eat it. Means you don't have to eat one.
Oh my God.
Because you landed on one you already ate.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Although, didn't you eat dead fish?
Yeah, I did technically, but that's because their photos are misleading.
Let me see. Hold on. You ate dead fish. Their photos are very misleading. That's almost exactly the same. You are 100% correct.
I think JT needs to eat whatever this
I
is.
agree.
That's not true.
No,
Eat it.
because she spun it twice, landed on it twice.
What does that mean?
Eat it.
These are the rules. Eat.
That's not the rules.
Look, you're not the only one who can just pull rules out of the hat.
Right.
It's this one. Ooh.
Oh God. Well, it doesn't want me. You saw it. Everybody on YouTube saw it.
All right.
But now JT eats it.
Fine, I'll
Yeah,
eat it.
eat
I'll
it.
eat it. I'll eat it.
Eat it.
Eat it.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh, God, it's so bad. It's not that fish. It's the other. It's more.
Well, now I feel bad.
No, don't feel bad. But also,
I can't.
okay. Also,
Oh,
JT.
God, what are they doing? Why did they do
Here,
that?
have that. Have that. So
I feel like-
JT has a horrendous
spit. You can
phobia
spit it.
of.
I can't get rid of it. I can't get rid of it.
JT has a horrendous phobia of barf, by the way.
Yeah.
He is super afraid of vomit. and also, fun fact about JT that nobody really asked for, but when he vomits, he screams. So it's the most dramatic.
No, that's what you're hearing a little bit.
It's the.
I can't get it out of my teeth. This is awful.
I know. Welcome to my life. I still had the rotting fish in the back of my molars. So
that is so bad. It's done. It's
And
done.
Chris is
It's
like,
down. I did not spit it out.
So-
yummy peach.
From now on, maybe we should just have a big
Strawberry smoothie.
stack of
Whatever.
donuts that we
Right?
we eat.
That'll
Oh,
be for the
gosh.
finale. Okay.
Big stack
God.
of donuts.
All right. On to the next one if I can read it.
Tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
JT carries on after eating a barf.
A
Jelly
single
bean.
bar
Disgusting,
jelly bean.
yo. Okay. Here we
The
go.
drama.
No, that was really. It tastes like salt but like in like
Bile.
a very
Yeah, it's acid.
How do
What are
they
they
do
doing?
it? How do they do that?
I don't know. It's
What
disgusting.
sadistic
They're-
person is sitting at Jelly Belly?
This is going to be upsetting for everyone, but apparently American chocolate uses a chemical ingredient that is what gives barf the very distinct flavor. So, like, when foreigners eat American chocolate, they'll oftentimes say it tastes like vomit because the acid that is used in our chocolate is the same as the acid in our vomit.
Delicious.
Lovely. Yeah, it's acid. That's kind of what it is. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Jelly Belly's on some stuff.
This one is from Ashley Warner.
Yay!
Yay! She titled it "Surprise! Our Savannah Airbnb was haunted."
Surprise!
So this is going to be the trend for this episode.
Was it on
is-
price? Yeah. It's like the haunted
No, it was not
Airbnbs.
on price. All right. Let me just make sure. Okay, cool. All right. Hey, y'all. Ashley again. I just wanted to start out by saying thank you for being so great while we were in town. Thank you for coming to town.
Yeah.
We had so much fun at the Savannah Underground show. Our tour with Maddie was absolutely fantastic. And needless to say, y'all made Jameson's entire year by having him as a guest. I should also add that my boyfriend came to Savannah as a complete skeptic, but after talking with Radar and Maddie during the trolley tour and seeing the photos they shared with us, he has now admitted that he can't really deny that ghosts are indeed real.
Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So thank you guys again for your hospitality. I truly cannot say enough good things, and our trip definitely solidified that we are definitely making the right decision by moving down there. All right, so on to my story. I didn't want to tell y'all about this while we were in town because I didn't want to freak out Jeff or Jameson, knowing we still had 3 nights there, more so Jeff than Jameson, LOL. While in town, my breath still smells like barf. I could taste it, sorry. While in town, we stayed in an Airbnb on Indiana, about a 3-minute drive from Bonaventure. Shout out to our host, Tony, and his awesome garden getaway. Just looking at the pictures online, I was thinking, this place looks like it's probably got a ghost or two. It's perfect. So as soon as we check in, the very first thing I noticed was that the hallway leading back to the bedrooms was a literal hall of mirrors, with both walls lined with mirrors.
Splendid. Great choice, Tony.
With several facing each other. I immediately set to work sound cleansing the house and strategically placing crystals in doorways, on bedside tables, and under pillows. As I did so, I let whatever spirits that might be there know that we were just going to be staying for a few days and we wouldn't mess with them as long as they don't mess with us. I could definitely feel at least one presence there, but did not feel threatened by it in any way. So our second night there, I put Jameson to bed and Jeff had fallen asleep on the couch and was not waking up. I decided to just leave him and headed to bed myself. As I drifted to sleep, I felt someone start to pull the blankets down towards the floor. At first, I thought it was Jeff coming to the bed, but when I rolled over, there was no one there. I shrugged it off and rolled back over and started drifting back into sleep. A few minutes later, I felt what was definitely someone crawling up into my bed and laying down next to me. I rolled over expecting to see Jeff again, but see Jeff, but again, there was no one there. I sat up in bed and firmly said, "Whoever is here, it's been a very long day and I'm exhausted. Please leave me be and let me sleep, and don't even think about going in to the other rooms and messing with either one of my guys." After that, I went to sleep and wasn't disturbed for the rest of the night. The next morning when I got up, I noticed for the first time that there was a little decorative table in the hallway, and on the bottom shelf there was an urn. At first glance, it almost looked like it was made of bone and covered with skulls. But after closer inspection, I realized that the skulls were blank. Not skulls. It did not appear to have anything in it, but based by the residue on the bottom, I think there was at some point. When I flipped it over and looked at the bottom, there were dates that indicated it may have been made for a baby. I didn't have any more experiences for the rest of our trip, but I did pick up a couple of things when I walked around with the GhostTube app. Unfortunately, nothing it said was super significant, and I'm not sure how much I really trust the app, so I didn't read too much into it. So yeah, that's my story. Sorry it's not more interesting, LOL, but I figured y'all would like to hear my little Savannah ghost story. I have attached pictures of the urn for y'all. Thanks for reading, and as always, stay spooky, y'all. Ashley. Thanks, Ashley. No, that was awesome.
So, shall we see the photos?
Not yet.
Because the question
duh.
is what look like skulls.
Okay. Well, first off, that entire area is very haunted in general.
Absolutely.
Because you've got
State streets.
Well, you've got Bonaventure, you got the Catholic cemetery, you got like all sorts of jazz going on.
The old dairy lands out there.
I used to work with somebody who lived literally with Bonaventure basically as their backyard, and they had the creepiest ghosts living in their house. And basically they had a linen closet, and it was a little girl covered in blood who would scratch on the inside of the linen closet. So after that, I'm just like, you could not pay me enough to live over there.
No, thank you.
Gracious.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't know that story. That's wild.
Yeah. Well, it's a minor one in compared to all the other stories.
I feel like there's a lot of violence that occurs in that generalized area, and
Right.
Yeah.
on top of everything else,
Yeah.
it's always been touch and go in that area.
There's a lot of good spaces over there, but it is known by Savannah locals state streets, and they go. People say state streets where they're just a bunch of streets that are named after states, California, Pennsylvania, and all of that. It is a little more crimey over there.
But yeah, and then on top of it, all the graves. It's just very energetic, if you will. So I'm not surprised. I'm also not surprised that you had a paranormal experience with all the mirrors that are facing each other and things like that. So it was totally possible. It could have been something associated with the urn, or it could have been something that came through one of the mirrors.
Definitely.
It sounds like probably like a child or something like that was like, let me crawl into bed with you.
Yeah.
That's what at least I thought at first, but
I would have thought it was one of my dogs.
well, it wasn't.
I'd have been like, come on.
Come on.
Come on. But, come on.
Yeah, well, there's a difference between a 10-pound silky terrier and a human-sized thing crawling into bed with you.
But we also have an 18-pound schnauzer, so
You put them together.
Yeah.
put them together, they both are coming after Daddy. Anyway, okay. All right. What was on the urn that she thought were skulls? Was it A, white clovers, B, children's faces, C, cherubs, D, swaddled babies? I put a lot of thinking into these answers because I'm like, what could
Cherubs
be in
and
the shape of
children's
soul?
faces seem almost synonymous.
Right.
Unless it's the full cherub.
Right. Well,
Because if it's a cherub's face, you're like, oh, that's a kid's face.
part of me, just because Savannah is so Irish Catholic, Clovers and cherubs lean closer to my thought process.
Yes.
I want to say clovers for some reason.
Well, swaddled babies is so out there.
That is so out there.
So it definitely could be swaddled babies. However, I think I would remark more if it was something like that. If I were writing and I was like, oh, it was swaddled babies, I'd be like, weird. I'm looking at this urn and there's swaddled babies on this thing. Even if I was like...
Well, that's actually a good point because she said that it looked like it might have been for a baby or a child. The urn might have been. That's a good point. So maybe swaddled babies is correct. That's an interesting point.
It's difficult. Mainly, you come to what would you put? Because then it's like, is it a urn for ashes? Because it sounded like there were dates on the bottom of it. So, is it possible that this was a deceased child that this urn was made for? And if that's the case, putting religious iconograph, swaddled baby's faces, those kind of make sense, although also creepy. If you're going to put an urn that has human remains in it, I don't think you should paint it with faces. You shouldn't put face, because that's the kind of thing that on a drunken night you look at long enough and the faces start looking back at you and moving around. I'm going with clovers, by the way. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Okay, I'm going to go with the swaddled babies then, just to keep it different.
All right. Here, I'm just going to show you the picture to unveil the answer.
Okay.
Oh, look.
Oh, I should have gone with the cherubs.
You should have gone with the cherubs.
Yeah, cherubs. So we're both
cute.
wrong.
I was
It is
on the
cute.
right track. I should have just...
You are
I know.
absolutely
Go ahead and
on the right track.
There we go.
There we go. We got a good spin in, and it is.
What is it?
It is either pomegranate or old bandage.
Old bandage. Now the problem here is
makes
I
it
like
old?
chewing on old bandages, so it would
God.
be fine.
There you go.
Lucky you.
Pomegranate or old bandage.
All right, there's old bandage. How do they do it? It totally tastes like old bandage.
I know
How
these
did-
things are
how did that-
ridiculous.
Oh, that's horrible.
What is it?
Toasted marshmallow or stink bug.
Oh, God.
So it looks like it's
So it tastes like a lot like an old bandage?
Oh, so much.
so much. I'm scared.
Go for it.
Even blood.
Blood? They have blood in there? Oh, no. Did they put more? Oh, no.
Absolutely not.
Oh, Madison, can you luck out at
For
all,
the record,
baby?
she hates marshmallows. So that is roasted marshmallow flavor.
She does not hate marshmallows. Oh, she has to leave? Oh, no, she left. Y'all, she left. Oh, she had to spit it out? You spit it out? Come on, I didn't even spit out barf.
No. You don't. No, you don't understand. You do not understand.
Y'all got it. Ooh, that was rough,
I'm
y'all.
just coming off of a lung infection.
Big yikes.
And yeah, and my medicine makes all of my taste buds very sensitive, and that was just awful.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Tastes like
that.
Oh my
I've
God.
been chewing on a duffel bag.
Okay.
That's
All righty.
How do they do that? Do they just put bad rubber, like rotting rubber?
I don't know. That's wild, though.
They melted.
That was bizarre.
Stink
Good for
bugs.
them.
They melted stink bugs into that.
I still taste barf. You know what it tastes like? I've barfed this morning.
Oh, right.
And I just haven't brushed my teeth or did any. So, like, these things are, like,
No,
for
this
real.
crawl-
We're going to
that-
be getting a bunch.
That crawled
more.
into my mouth and
I know.
died.
It died. Okay. Here we go. Now, y'all, I'll tell you, when I was reading this, I was like, I want to make a movie. We need to make a movie, Chris.
Okay.
Like, seriously.
Let's do
It
it.
is so creepy. Okay. Here we
Gabrielle's
go.
going to have a field day editing this.
This one, yeah, she will. This one has photos.
Yay.
And it is from Mindy McPherson.
What a great name.
Oh, yeah.
Mindy McPherson.
All right. And it's titled Ghostmail. Good afternoon. I'm a new listener, and I'm loving the podcast. Thanks, Mindy. We appreciate it. My name is Mindy, and I just made it to the episode where y'all gave out this email and wanted to share one of my own stories. I have so many I could tell and could probably fill up a whole episode, but the one I'm going to pass along today is one I would tell around a campfire, and it gives me goosebumps just retelling it every time. It gave me goosebumps, I'll give you that, when I read it. So, I have a nightmare disorder, which means almost every time I sleep, I have a nightmare.
I'm so sorry.
That
Horrible way to
terrible
live.
disorder.
Jeez.
Although, what a great central character of a horror movie.
I know,
Right?
right? Seriously. Like maybe like nothing scares her.
She has fear in her
Yeah.
last name.
Oh. Wow. You're
Chris is so creative. I love it.
you're really cut out for it, Mindy.
All right. I'm so used to them now that they just feel like dreams, but sometimes a nightmare comes along and rattles me. I had this one specific nightmare for 3 days in a row about an old-looking woman with long, mismatched fingers trying to get into my apartment, but not being able to because the door was locked. Y'all know how much I love a creepy old woman.
Yeah. Do her fingers have keys on it?
I don't
too?
know. That'd be pretty dope.
Mismatched fingers.
I love that. So good. She would go around my building trying to find a way in, but couldn't due to everything else also being locked up. She was so frightful looking. The only way I can describe the woman is in the movie Mama, but light gray. I only had this specific nightmare for 3 nights and was relieved when I woke up the morning after night 4 and realized I did not have the nightmare of the lady. I was relieved. That was before I saw that I accidentally left my door unlocked that night. I tried to brush off my fear because nothing happened to me physically, but the thing that made me also wet my pants was that when I was leaving for work, I saw a handprint on my blank door.
Oof.
The handprint has long fingers and was placed exactly where my nightmare woman would place her hand. I tried to just leave it alone as if it was all a coincidence, but couldn't after the day went by, and that night, as I was laying down for bed, I looked at my ceiling and there was another handprint. I hadn't had that nightmare again, and I don't think the woman is still around, but just knowing that she might have gotten in and watched me sleep from my ceiling is definitely one of the creepiest things I can bury in my mind. Yes, and thank you for writing that script for me. I will make it. Attached are 2 pictures. One is the handprint on my blank door, and the other is the handprint on my ceiling. I have had many other things happen to me, so if y'all don't mind, I wouldn't mind continuing to share.
Absolutely.
Also, I forget to lock. I never forget to lock my doors at night.
Absolutely. Well, and
Big yikes.
yeah, that's almost worth having them on as a guest.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Zoom or something. Yeah,
Seriously.
absolutely. 'Cause
Super freaky
Many
stuff.
questions. Many questions.
That is horrifying.
Yeah,
was terrifying.
no, seriously. It made me think of I wasn't a normal kid at all. I loved scary stuff. I think I've made that clear on this podcast, and I loved the movie The Witches.
Oh yeah.
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 Very disturbing kids film.
Yes.
I love disturbing kids film, like the Oz one.
The Return to Oz.
The Return to Oz.
That was not meant to be a horror
That's
movie,
not-
though.
Yeah, no, that is a
but
horror.
it was very scary.
film.
The Wheelers.
The Wheelers, bro. The
Wheelers.
Wheelers, bro. That, and then also Ghost Town, Return to Ghost Town, or something like that. It was like the one where the walls bleed green. Anyway,
Or, like,
I love
Don't
that
Look
stuff.
Under the Bed.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
Yeah.
Children of the Corn,
Sure.
all the good stuff. But The Witches had a special place in my heart for being ultra creepy, and I remember really liking, because I was such a visual child, that I would want to lay in bed and I faced my door and I had it cracked about 2 feet, and I would look through the crack and I would envision the main woman from The Witch after she
sure.
turned into the witch, like creeping in through from the shadows into the moonlight, and like just like looking at me and then like moving backwards. And that was like, and that's what that reminded me of. I was like, bro.
No, what I thought of from your messed up childhood is how he would. So JT is awful. If you didn't know, do not let this podcast fool you. He's not
What do you mean?
nice.
He brought these jelly beans.
Yeah, he's not nice, and he used to torture his sister Lainey. And so
Not torture.
you tortured that poor woman so much. And he made her so afraid of the Grinch because
Oh, yeah.
he would
Grinch is
tell
scary.
her that the Grinch would be up in the corner of her room staring down at her.
Yeah.
You're awful.
Yeah.
And that's what I pictured was the Grinch up in the corner of the room, just being like,
She wouldn't sleep on her left side facing away from that corner because of that. Because I would paint a really crisp visual for her,
Oh, there you go.
and it would be like smiling ear to ear, just like
course.
looking at her.
Of course.
and he would scratch on her door.
I would scratch at her door.
And
It wasn't that bad though.
you're
Other than-
awful. You're
Awful.
You're up there with Jin
Awful.
Hee.
You're up there with Jin Hee.
Thank you. So yeah, here's the question: where was the first handprint? Was it A, her front door, B, the bedroom door, C, her back door leading to the garden, or D, her van door?
I thought back door because usually, like, if you're going to forget a door, it'd be the back door because it's not the door that you're mostly using. And it's in a lot of houses, you pass by the front door when you're like going to your room or whatever. And so most people will look at the front door at the end of the night, it'll be locked. It's less likely for a front door to be unlocked, especially if this person is very consistent with locking their doors. I could see it being a back door. Also, back doors are typically in a lot of houses glass, which would make sense why you could still see the handprint.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking backdoor because early in the story was the story of the entity trying all the doors,
Right.
moving around the house.
Yep.
I feel like it would be a house door simply because the narrative is if you've left the door unlocked, it got in. The act of locking doors is ritualistic. It is not just against intruders of physical form. You are actually securing your house. You're actually making your house secure. So it does make sense that you would see it on the back door. I even imagined in my head that, that they would go out the back door to get to
Right.
their car, to their driveway, like a garage, rather than going out the front door. and that's, at my house, we park behind the house, so we go out the back door. We don't go in and out the front door often. So I don't know what the configuration of her house is, but in my mind, I immediately thought back door.
So both back door?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was before I saw that I had accidentally left my front door unlocked that night.
There you go.
Spin away.
Front door. Front door it is.
I'm going to vomit.
That is blue. Hold on. That's going to be the cappuccino or liver and onions.
I don't like either of those.
Hand that to Bill Cooper.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Liver and onions.
Oh, Bill Cooper. All right, Maddie, go for a spin.
Nom.
Cappuccino or liver and onions?
That was technically on Tutti Frutti or Stinky Socks.
It still tastes like bandage to me,
I still have
but
essence.
it's cappuccino.
It's cappuccino. Okay.
But it's kicking up the whatever the flavor was. That was the bandage flavor.
I still have essence of stink bug, so I think
This is washing away the bandage, and it's actually quite pleasant.
I think this is Tutti Frutti. I can't tell.
It's almost caramely.
Delightful.
Just go for it, baby.
Okay. Yeah, it's Tutti Frutti.
Yay! All right. She finally lucked out. Here we go.
Actually, I think that's birthday cake. These all look the same.
They look similar. Yeah.
That's fine. Birthday cake. Yum.
All right. Here's the last one. Okay. And it's
good.
sent in by our newer para-junkie, George Gay. Here we go. No subject.
No subject.
No subject. All right. Okay. So this is my first time ever doing something along these lines, so forgive me for the lengthy post. You three are the most entertaining personas in the paranormal world, and I deeply appreciate the insight and education you three provide.
Oh, that's very nice.
So nice.
That's
Thank you.
very nice.
It's like unbelievably nice. We really appreciate it, George. Chris's insurmountable knowledge and personal experience. Madison's unwavering confidence and insight into protection and general tips and tricks. And JT's anchoring with the humor and general lightheartedness make for such an incredible experience. Wow. That's so sweet. So thank you so much for all of it. Yeah, take that 1-star review. Anyway.
Drop that in the reviews.
Yes, please.
Just take that paragraph and drop it in the reviews.
Yeah. That being said, I have binged every episode of on your YouTube, and I was just wondering if you had any tips for protecting yourself from attachments while watching videos.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good question.
Very recently, I was watching the blank episode around 3 a.m, and I was fading in and out while watching when I swear I heard a tap on my headset. I wear mine late at night because I don't want to disturb my wife. It snapped me out of my lethargy, and I sat straight up and couldn't find a source. I cut it up to be just the heat of the moment, but about 10 to 20 minutes later, I had a very strong smack on the side of my headset that set my heart racing and really freaked me out. I immediately closed everything up and went to bed after this. I'm really interested in deep diving harder into the paranormal, given my deep fascination with it and all things occult, and was wondering once again, do you have any simple advice on protection for just observing and listening to keep attachments away? Thanks again for everything you guys do, and I hope this reaches you.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're turning into two girls on ghosts, apparently, with our hauntings that we're giving all our lovely listeners.
Yeah.
It's important to note that when you are indulging in these stories and you're researching or you're listening or you're watching these videos, oftentimes you're not being affected by the entity in the video or the entity that's being discussed as much as you are activating the part of your mind that allows these things to have more access to you. What you're really doing when you listen to ghost stories, when you watch a ghost video, when you're searching, you are opening a door. You're opening a door in your head, and that door may be accessible by spirits that are around you. So you may have a spirit that's been with you for a while, but now that you're actively doing something or actively listening to something, it is getting more traction in your world because it becomes more of a reality. That is one of the things that I used to always say, just going around on a ghost tour or something, talking about ghosts, telling the stories opens you up to the possibility and to the environment, and then the energy that is present becomes more able to communicate. So I dare say that we're not dealing with like something you're watching affecting, like the thing you're watching. If I'm watching a video on Hatman and Hatman appears, it's not necessarily because of the video content as much as it is your ability to perceive is being opened and broadened. So there's a lot of ways to go about like protecting yourself from your own abilities to perceive. However, because you're actively going down that road, it becomes more and more difficult because it's your will, it's your desire that oftentimes draws these spirits in, and whatever protection you choose can counter or be countered by your willingness and your desire. So, it's all about having faith in what you're doing that protects you, because the same way that you're opening the door is, how do you keep it shut? What do you do? What actions do you do to keep it shut? And me being a paranoia, me being a phobic, I have a lot of phobias. Phobia is a type of belief, a type of structured belief in something, and the thing being malevolent or dangerous or out to get you. And it's so hard to just turn your fear off. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to, say, well, I just won't be afraid of that. Well, right. I just won't. So what you usually have to do is find something that brings you a complementary comfort. And I've said this on the show many times. I have swords. My house is full of swords. I don't know what my genuine, because it's unnatural that I am so attached to swords, but I feel very safe if a sword is nearby, and not just like because I can hack them. There's something about a sword that acts as a talisman to me. And I used to take a sword cane with me on ghost hunts. Swords are not going to really do damage to a ghost. It's not like that, but it does somewhere instill in me this sense of safety that balances my sense of fear. So, while there are plenty of ritualistic, plenty of crystals, plenty of things, talisman that you could use, sometimes it has to be very personal because it has to override your fear and or curiosity. Or the terrible mix of both, the terrible mix of curiosity and fear makes something so compelling. Makes something, it's almost addictive at that point. It's the heroin, the ghost heroin. I strongly suggest finding the thing that brings you comfort, something that you rely on. I've known people to carry like their father's, lighter or or some special coin or things like that. But I will pass it over to Maddie for more detailed answers to that question.
So, it's interesting that you bring up the more you talk about spirits, the more they appear. Because it's true. Even on my ghost tours, the spirits on that route, because it's on a trolley, they are very aware of my tour now. They know that I talk about them. They always, especially children ghosts at the Davenport house. Yeah. Oh my God, they are so interested in people.
And you have a personal relationship. So,
Oh yeah. So they know, and they show up, and that's fine. But it's important, like you said, to find something that you feel connected to. So if you don't feel connected to crystals or witchy things or whatever, that's not going to work for you. I could tell you carry obsidian, onyx, whatever you want. Black crystals in general, very good for protection, even if you just keep it on you or keep it near where you watch the videos or things like that. That's why I got into spell jars, because, you can literally put them wherever you want and just have it around you or keep it in your pocket or something. It's a natural protection. But you see, if that doesn't pique your interest or you don't believe in it, it's not going to do anything for you. I know a lot of people who are, big believers in keeping a Bible next to their bed.
Absolutely.
JT's brother, he sleeps with a old Bible next to his bed, and when his hag shows up, he's got it right there. It works great for him because that's what he feels is protective for him. He knows, like, he has deep faith in that particular object. So I think you're absolutely right in the sense of go with where your faith lies. And if you don't believe in anything, then that's also a great tool, because the belief in nothing is actually really strong, because there's a lot of staunch atheists who never have paranormal experiences because they simply just don't believe in it, because that is their will and that is their faith that will not be tested.
And no spirit is going to waste its energy on somebody who's going to dismiss it.
True.
All right. What episode was George watching? Was it A, Ghostmail episode, B, the episode we did on 432 Abercorn, C, our collaboration with Emma, or D, our collaboration with Two Girls, One Ghost?
We actually brought up Two Girls, One Ghost because they introduced the idea of listeners having more paranormal activity after listening to the show.
Yep.
That one we talked about cryptids, though, and I wonder if that would put you in the mind state of...
That's a good point.
In Emma, we talked about a lot of things. So maybe Emma's episode, but a part of me feels like it's 432 Abercorn. I swear that house just puts people in a weird place.
It does. I've seen people totally obsessed with that house. So I could see that being a trigger, because that's also a deep dive. You find yourself going down a rabbit hole with that one.
It's true. Yeah, it's I just had a guest this past weekend who was obsessed with 432 Abercorn. They just had all these theories as to what was haunting it and things like that. I swear, they were going into so many different rabbit holes. So I'm going to go with 432 because people love that house.
Chris?
Gosh, that's tricky. I'm going to go with Ghostmail.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. Very recently, while I was watching the collaboration with Two Girls, One Ghost, around 3 a.m, I was fading in and out while
Maybe
watching.
It's them.
It's them. That's why I included it.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all got to spin, and then we're going to end the episode.
Here we go.
Here we go again.
It's me, Mario. I don't know what it is. What these?
That is either buttered popcorn or rotten egg, and that is this one.
Buttered popcorn or rotten egg.
I love buttered popcorn.
That one's my favorite jelly bean. Is the buttered popcorn?
What is it? Oh.
Is it both?
No, it's not both.
What is that, man?
Birthday cake or dirty dishwasher?
Okay. What is it, Chris?
I'm having trouble.
Really?
I'm going to say buttered popcorn.
Okay, it's probably buttered popcorn.
It
You know if it's rotten egg.
Birthday cake!
But
Yay!
it definitely has like an extra layer of chemical,
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it is Jelly Belly, but...
Nope. I'm going with buttered popcorn. It's not bad. It's just weird.
Yeah.
I love the buttered popcorn ones. I don't know.
Yep. All right.
Birthday
That was an
cake.
awesome episode. That was great. Long one, too.
Yes, it was.
Great ghost smells, everyone. Please keep them coming in.
Please keep sending them. They're so interesting. Please send us your trauma of paranormal. We love it.
And apparently we're adding trauma of our own with this bizarre Jelly Belly roulette.
Jelly Belly roulette. But anywho, thank you guys for listening to this episode. If you have a ghost mail that you would like to send to us, you can send it at ghostmail@hauntedcitypodcast.com. But with that, my name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susi.
And stay spooky, y'all.